Thanks for being with us. Okay, we are at 4 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. I think we're going to start. We're at DojoEarth. We're on the mat. Welcome here. It is a Wednesday evening, and so this is my territory. My name is Renee. Glad to see everybody. We have some faces that I've recognized so far. A lot of familiar faces to see, and we've just soared through the month of April. We have come to the end of the month of April, and that seems very symbolic to me. April Fool's Day was a big one, and it's been quite a crescendo to the 30. Welcome everybody for making it through that portal. And we start off with May in Taurus season, so I think we got some good Earth fixed energy to kind of like kick off of. If you are new to this gathering, there is a reaction button, and you hit that, and there will be a raise your hand sign, and that's how you ask questions. And if anybody has anything to say or bring up at this point, please raise your hand. We will address that. Um, it's so beautiful today, you guys. I actually picked some flowers and arrange them. So that's a fun thing to do this time of year as this beautiful Taurus season. Just it so delivers all the colors, all the smells, right, Nancy? All the smells. I mean, I have some gorgeous lilac over here that I picked, and it's white, and it came with the house. It was very overgrown, so I had to kind of pull down the branches to even pick it because it's so overgrown. I can barely get the flowers, or I have to get a ladder. So that's what happens when you don't like prune things down. They just get so tall. Now it's a tree. So you live, you learn, right? You live, you learn. But hey, I will climb a tree, and so I can smell flowers. It was about 11:30 a couple nights ago, and I was outside just really enjoying the night, and I decided to climb my dogwood tree by myself. I mean, of course I was by myself, but I didn't climb up too high. I wasn't going to be too dangerous, everybody. You can climb a tree in the middle of the night, that's fine, but don't go too high. When I climbed up there, I found that if I put a little seat here or a pillow, I can kind of live here for a while. So I haven't made that climb again, but I will. I'm really engaging with the trees and the climbing and the sitting. It just really grounds me, even though, Nancy, I'm climbing to the top of a tree. And I know people can really hurt themselves by doing those types of things middle of the night, and they just think they can go farther. But I've always been like, Renee, you've gone far enough. You don't need to climb any further. And that's why I think half of us are still here, not really pushing the envelope too much. There's a range that we play in this really important life we're leading right now, or each of our individual life right now are so specifically geared to us. Hi, Lori. So specifically geared to us individually, like Annie, you talking to yourself. You know what I mean? I was in how you were, it sounded like you were talking kind of like not very nice to yourself. Yes, I heard that a lot from my kids. My one daughter in particular did not talk very nice about herself. It was very hard to hear. Um,
It's in between other things, and just I'll make a funny run on. It's like a run on commentary, and
mm,
it's like a thing that I've done before with friends, and they'd say, okay, could we cut out the running on commentary where I just have to comment on everything and identify this, and just make a comment on every single thing that happens. It's just like shh, hush.
huh. Run on commentary. Yeah. I mean, I have noticed myself talking to myself. Like sometimes I'll be in a car with somebody and I'll forget they're there and I'll just be talking to myself. And they're like, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot you were here. But, I like talking to myself. I think I'm really good company. I don't give myself, now if I talk really negatively to myself, like, Renee, you're a stupid idiot. I can't believe why were you born? Like that type of stuff. Like, you know, I don't typically have those conversations with myself, and I'm probably lucky because of that. I know it's kind of common for some people to talk that derogatorily to themselves, but I'm sure I could. Had I let things spin out of control and had a different placement in my family, maybe, or just been a different kid. I don't know. It's also so specific to me, right? Hey, True, go right ahead.
Well, first of all, let me just say that studies suggest that people who talk to themselves are more intelligent than the average person. I read that somewhere a long time. But I started laughing because when I do ride share, for those of you that don't know. Been doing it for 4 years, have about 14,000 rides. And toward the end of the shift, I will start talking to myself. I will start muttering. It's like, why did that guy do that? Why did he do that? What's going on? And it's like, then I make a joke out of it. The person in the back. I don't normally do this, but and they laugh. I make a joke out of it, but I do that. I catch myself going, okay, this person may be calling 911. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. I got a chuckle.
Oh yeah, I think I think we aim to entertain ourselves. I mean, I listen to a lot of music, so I sing a lot. So maybe people hear me singing or humming rather than talking to myself. I'll just be like, so that's entertainment to me, and it really works my vocal cords, and I get to work with my voice because I really enjoy singing and working my throat chakra and all the different resonances that can be with the head and the chest voice. I don't know if you guys do that as a way to kind of ground or calm yourself down, or even just go outside and kind of lay out a nice tone just with the birds. It's really nice to integrate with nature that way. Almost sing back to the birds, or I'll make a yip yip. I'll be outside and just kind of make a little announcement and just play. Okay, True, what do you got?
I actually, I've learned to do that sub-vocally. I'm doing it all day in different parts of really along the spine. That's where I
Very
do it.
good, right?
But nobody can hear me. It's just like I can feel the vibration, and it's like moving it around. And I'm doing it all. Yeah, yeah. It's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you take it with you wherever you go. You always have your body. I was talking to a friend, and a lot of people are really tight. And, I go, you just need to like rub your own feet, like sit in a position and get to your body, give yourself a hug, because a lot of people aren't getting that touch. So you can give yourself that touch, and it's so important to, get a nice cozy blanket or sit outside and smell a flower, like these things that are free, the free things that we have around us. I was literally out laying on the grass taking a nap. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm gonna go lay on my grass and lay down for a bit because it's still green and soft. It's pretty new. So that was just such a great connection for me just to connect to. I was tired. I am tired, but I also have a lot to do. So that was like almost like I get three naps in one because I'm on the grass, I'm smelling it. There's probably a little bug climbing up my back. It's you can really I can smell the flowers right now as I'm sitting here behind me. So picking flowers is my mother used to always want us to pick flowers out of neighbors' yards. It would be, Mom, that's the Worsleys flowers. And she's like, no, that's not theirs. That's off to the side of their property. It's fine. I'm like, Mom, so embarrassed. She's like, I am not moving until you get to pick those flowers. I wouldn't pick all of them, but some of them. But she was like relentless. But I'm a lot like her. High five. Go right ahead. Good to
Hi,
see you.
yeah, good to see everyone. Well, I just thought I would respond to my reaction to uh, the last Dojo. I remember listening, people talking about talking to yourself and kind of thinking of it in this removed way, like, oh, look at all these people talking to themselves. And then it just like made me notice every time I started talking to myself, and I'm like, God, I really fucking talk to myself a lot. And I hadn't even realized it. And like not very nice things, most of the things that I say, actually, or, reproaching kind of thing, and I'm not just talking about like cussing or, when you get angry when you're doing things, but I'm like, God, it's like way, way more like I might talk to myself more than even what anybody here described talking to themselves. I just thought I completely inverted my awareness because of you guys talking about that. So that was an interesting little experiment for me. I just thought I'd follow up on that.
Yeah, if you can imagine
That,
listening to somebody
go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
like I've overheard people struggle when they work. I mean, I know I do it too, but if you think about it, like you're witnessing a psychic transaction where somebody is disassociated what is hard and they put it in the room and they've associated into the object so they can say fuck, fuck. That they're psychically cussing at someone. They're utilizing the power of association to cuss into themselves, and they're gaining torque from it. And if you listen to it from the outside, it's pretty intense. Like you can imagine the anger or frustration that you might feel about yourself if you could listen to yourself talking to yourself. Um, it's to me, it'd be more of a problem if we weren't doing that, or if we were creating a society where we need to not be able to hear those things. To me, it's better to uh like normalize that as much as possible. But I feel the same way about racism. Like I really think everyone should just, man, if you have a problem with X people, man, I'd rather you just say it. I'd rather you just I would honestly rather just be able to hang out with you and hear you go, well, I fucking hate gray people. And I could just be like, okay. Like I know that I'm supposed to be all like super offended and stuff, but honestly, I appreciate how clearly you're showing me where you're at. Like, and I've said this before, but I think racism and prejudice are just us sort of like trying to filter. Like, look, I can only be compassionate for 16 of you. There's 86 of you in the room, so anyone who has this color, just fuck you. I just can't afford it. Like it's that. It's just it's transactional. It's I'm sort of saying it's okay. I'm just saying it is okay if you look at it as you're just looking at the raw energy they have. So when someone's talking to themselves, they have a shitload of psychic energy. They have a shitload of imagination. They're exercising their imagination, and we're living in a society that tells them, hey, that's not normal. You shouldn't be so imaginative, is what that really is. You should learn to play quietly, is what that is. You should really learn to play quietly. And you just stop playing at some point. The quieter you play, you just stop. You just stop one day. You're just like, guess I'm gonna go over here and grow pimples and, want Sebagos and shit. And, what are we doing now? Oh, we want to go to first base with somebody. Okay, and you move into that, right? You just take all your imagination and let it go. And then luckily you get enough autonomy where people can talk to themselves. And so they do. It's fucking
And
great.
the more you think about it, the more it seems weird to be quiet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
Good
Can I
point.
chime in? Oh, sorry, Renee,
Oh
honey.
yeah, go ahead, Nancy. I got Lori's hand up. If you want to jump in on this, that's totally fine. Is that cool, Lori? Yeah, go ahead.
It's just a comment. My mom, so when I was in high school, she got her psychology degree. Very, very smart lady, powerful. And so after that, she got even more powerful. And my twin sister and we would be like together, like, oh my God. She'd be like practicing confronting someone. And she'd be like whispering. I mean, she would be like, really. I mean, when you said torque, James, I'm like, wow, my mom, like, really could grow some torque. And I mean, she didn't know we could hear her, but yeah. Anyway, she was, she was amazing. She really was. It was all funny.
Well, I'd like to hear more about her someday. She sounds pretty powerful, Nancy. All right, Lori, go right ahead.
Um, I lived with someone that talked to themselves a lot and really negatively, and it affected me. Um, and now I'm thinking, gosh, I should have been compassionating him because I realized, you know, on Monday I shared that this thing is kicking my ass. This hurts so bad. And I think it's because I don't talk to myself. I don't talk out loud. I internalize it. And that need for approval with the mother that couldn't approve, or the father that it was just like this dynamic of a parent that were like this dynamic thing. And then I was kind of invisible. So I worked so hard to be visible and then to look for that approval with the person that can't give it to you. So I was like, then I'm living with this person who's like, well, he was as, a good mirror for me and my wounding, it was perfect. And he talked out loud to himself. He actually shared how what an asshole he was, or he was working on a project and he was, didn't do it right. And he's like, I was like, dang. But I was doing that silently, like killing myself silently with I didn't even know. It was like a secret weapon. Like, this hurts that I'm hurting right now. It is like running. Like, I'm not sleeping at night. And it's such a minor thing, but a major discovery, like a major discovery of where I've leaked prana for looking for approval to the person that I can get. I was witnessed in my writing group, and this person said to me, I see you and I've always been able to see you, but you have not been able to receive it. And I was like, no, I wasn't able to receive. So I was looking for always the person who couldn't see me. And I'm like, dang, if this isn't like good stuff. But I'm like I'm really hurting. And then like sharing this, like talking out loud to myself. I'm like, boy, if I was talking out loud to myself, it wouldn't have been nice stuff. It would be like, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You need to get this. You need to do that. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, so I really appreciate the topic coming back around so I can share on that. So
Yeah,
thanks.
when you cuss yourself, you also get to witness yourself as being persecuted, and that's very powerful. Like, seriously, that's a be like, hey, I don't deserve that. And so a lot of times we do this on purpose. I I don't like it, but because to me this is really right in there with sarcasm, but it's when people will purposely flog themselves at the very beginning before they start to talk. And because they put it at the beginning, you can't really interrupt and then say, well, can we go back to the part where you flogged yourself and then you gave me this huge compliment? Because that's kind of fucked up. It's sort of like you're like stealing things because you're pretending that you're bringing muffins by. So it's like it's kind of like that. And how do you deal with that? So a lot of it's really is creative, psychic uh, displays of abuse, not necessarily abuse, displays of abuse. And that includes ourselves. So having the moment where you're cursing yourself, when I cuss, if I say, damn it, like really upset, I recover. It takes me a while because I feel like that I've cursed the world, which is inside of me. That's what I look at it now. But I don't look at it like an irreverent sort of, no, I've failed and I will burn in hell. I more of look at it as a creative, like, oh, well, now I spilled the marbles is what I did. Now I got to go chase down all these exosomes of dread, all the all the little protein shells that I've just unleashed when I said, damn it, I have to go run and chase them. But I'm a creative wizard, so I can say, I call forth all that which is damned, and I say, thou art not damned, thou art loved strongly. So it's like you have to talk to yourself even more, not less. You have to do this stuff even more. It's when you're constantly suppressing it, when you're constantly thinking that the small talk is either bad or unimportant or not there. That's probably the worst, is when you miss all the feedback of understanding where are you. But it's not positive or negative, is not necessarily a reflection of where you are. If I'm doing some plumbing and I've just glued the wrong pipe after I glued 3 hours of other pipe, and I if I don't say damn it, if I don't get really mad, then I just have to carry that shit around. And I mean, sure, eventually I'll dump it somehow. I hopefully not in front of other public, but what if I dumped it in front of myself? What if I cussed out loud in front of myself and I witnessed myself having that moment And that's exactly what it would take. It would have to be a moment of, I can't believe you just displayed yourself in such a crude way. It would have to look that way. You couldn't be, excuse me, fuckest thou goddeth, writeth noweth. It's the psychic force of that is never going to work. This is what I think the problem was is we have with medicine. It's the same thing. It's like, what do you mean you don't want to scream? You're in a fucking hospital. What, like, if you can't scream here, what are we doing this for? Why, where are the voices? Where are we allowed to talk to ourselves exactly? Is it only this one place? Because I'll go, and that's what some people are. I guess I'll go there. I guess that's where I'll go, if that's where we get to talk to ourselves. Meanwhile, the 5-year-olds running around with abandon, wanting abandon. They get to do all this shit for free. Nobody's stopping them. Nobody's judging them. Nobody's being like, hey, okay, some people are. Sometimes you meet a 5-year-old and they're like, I'm going to burn down the building. And you're just kind of like, wow, wow. I mean, that happens. But for the most part, they get away with saying a lot of stuff, right? Like a lot, you know. And you understand that because you trust they're just playing, they're an imagination, that these things are real. It's when you get older, when you start to have some weight, you can throw around some things, drive vehicles and shit that were like, hey, nobody be talking to themselves. We don't want no imagination going on. So
Yeah, thanks, James. I think some righteous indignation is really good. I recently threw an olive tree across the room and really just so mad. I was just like, "Fuck." I was like, Ariel's like, wow, my God, I'm just so pissed off right now. I just wanted to punch stuff. Felt really good, felt really good. I don't usually go out that far, but I did, and it felt great. And I think the whole thing about breaking plates, I think it's good to break things. I think it's good to have a place to break things. I think that feels really good. And we even reading, just like ripping stuff out. You're just like, oh, like that feels good. So to really like get into that, I'm a master of my own universe. I can rip a tree out and throw it across the room. I think props are important. I think we need props for this work. I think we need patience to let people just really let all that out. And that's the medicine. That's what we want to bring up to the surface because it's there already. All right, there is mine. I think, okay, I think True is next. I'm going to look at my participants
Yeah.
still. There you go, right ahead.
I just wanted to hit 2 points. First thing is, the older I've gotten, my dad's voice and my voice are very similar. And when I have that self-talk, and it's like, you dumbass, I hear him in my head. It's like this old programming loop, the critical parent. And but the other thing is, it's not just the mental aspect of it for me. It's the fact that if I don't express myself, it feels like I'm being boiled in oil. If I keep it plugged up, like, I'll just give you a quick example. I was talking to my best friend forever, my living partner, and she's having a rough time with her project. And she called me up. I just wanted to sit, and then I was just like, I don't like people disrespecting this one. And I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there, and I'm really trying to witness. And it's just, I could feel it come up, and I'm not like, I start to try to fix the problem. But it's like the way that I'm doing it, it's not like, well, why don't you try this? No, it's like, and then I start pointing my finger and going like this, and it's like, I've done it again, because this one is very sensitive to that kind of energy. And it's like the helping hand strikes again. So anyway, it's just really interesting. I don't know what to do with that felt sense of the heat of it.
Right.
That's all I got.
Yeah, we can use furniture better, like what Renee was saying. I think it only fails, like throwing a tree has extra magic because then you get to feel guilty because you threw something alive, and then you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, tree. And the tree's like, fuck you, I don't want to, and for weeks you're like, You okay, fella? Like this is part of the
It's
furniture.
it's a fake tree. It's a fake olive tree. It's
Okay.
not real. So that is a difference. So so that I did consider that because it's plastic. But
Okay.
go ahead.
It is part of the furniture though. And all the things that we employ, the reason why we choose certain props is because of this. Some have more, some have less, all those things. Even Renee giving us the prop, it's an olive tree. She didn't say it's a fake olive tree. She pointed in all of your heads, it's an olive tree. So and that's fine that to correct it is no problem. I'm just saying this is what I mean. It's the psychic use of the prop itself. And where we fail, I think, is not embracing the prop. This I was just talking about this with addiction. You fail by not embracing the prop. The drug is the prop. Are you utilizing it to your full extent? If before you throw your clay creation, I remember once I had a clay pot that I was making, and I was running out of oxygen in the room. It turned out I was operating a kiln in a closed space. Hey, what do you know? Thanks for being 20. But anyway, so I'm there, and I'm operating, and I'm starting to lose oxygen, and the only thing that was really able to clue me off that something was wrong was anger. And I had taken this pot and I had just like thrown it up against the wall, and it intrinsically that was a prop that saved me. That was exactly what I needed to do to break the spell, to get me to do something different. So how good or how bad we feel about the prop is directly proportional to the amount of medicine we want to pull out. However, the thing that would stop our medicine is not embracing its use. It's not actually saying, I'm using this for the opportunity to, I want to feel powerful and I want to let go or feel bad. That's actually part of the psychic feeling. I want to get back to where I am as quick as I can. So I need to run as fast as I can, let go of energy, and come back as fast as I can. That's a technique. So you'd utilize a prop of some kind, story, a lie, uh, a situation, an unknown, a persecution. All of these things we would purposely construct for the movement of energy. And unless we're watching the movement of energy, we will always get lost in the thing itself. We will always get lost in, no, it's because Glenda parked there. It's not because Glenda parked there. It has nothing to do with Glenda parking there. Nothing at all. You being offended by this is exactly the prop to you as it is to Glenda for saying, I'm going to fucking park in that bitch's spot. Both of you are utilizing the prop. Both of you are. And each of you have different ways of utilizing it. That's what makes it so dynamic and powerful, because we expect each other to recognize what the prop's for. And then we end up arguing over it. And then no one ever even sees the initial, like, the initial movement of it has nothing to do with the furniture. It has everything to do with our approach to the furniture and how we psychically feel. So you embrace the prop. You're going to do the damage anyway. Embrace the prop, but you'll get something out of it, and then you'll start to feel constructive. Even about the destruction, you'll start to. I've destroyed things here that I'm like, I'm so sick of this. I am putting all my frustration into this object that I swear I was going to be able to fix, and I'm smashing it 3 stories into this rock, and it's going to make me feel. But I've literally said this to myself before I've done it. I've said it. And when you do it that way, it really, really changes. It really does just unleash a lot of magic. You really are able to just put every single action into that because it's intentional, right? It's intentional. Like that.
Very, very well said, James. Go ahead, Annie. You're up.
Okay, I was going to go back to the other, but I'm going to go ahead from springboard off of what he was just talking about and talk about a different thing that I've been meaning to bring up again, which is the thing in my yard, which is a prayer. It's a circle portal prayer thing. And it's just some hoops of copper that connect to the ground with some crystals. And then I put water in it. So the water is connecting all the points where the copper is connecting to the ground. And I use it when I want to really say a prayer and just send it in a big amplified way, I guess. And it naturally it kind of just built itself. I didn't plan it. I didn't think about it ahead of time. It just like I was just doing it, whatever it was, it wanted to be made. And that's how it was made. And everything that I would do with it is just like, well, this is where the candle goes and this is where incense is. And you can, at night, you can light a candle during the day at dawn if you want, burn some incense and some sage or whatever. Anytime, anywhere, you can put crystals down, and it all becomes, it's intentional in its it, what do you call it when it's spontaneous? Its spontaneity is the intention that goes into that. And I don't know how else to word that, but that's what that is. And it's sort of a technology, but it's also very primitive because it's copper, water, crystals. What else? That's about it. And so it's very simple, and I'm not sure what the shapes are. There's actually two copper rods too in the front and the back, and one of them is just a rod way in front. So it's almost like a sight on a gun in a way. Kind of. There's like two rods that line up. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this right now because I don't even really think about it. I just do it. And so it is what it is. So
That's beautiful. I mean, I think we've been creating altars ever since we first started walking around as children with our toys, and adults. There's many women who decorate to the nines for every holiday, and that's an altar. That's magic. I think
ceremony
decorating, but it's actually you're creating an altar. So your natural altar preparation, rolling out into the nature, is a flow of fluidity. That's a waterway. That's an energy way, and then you have the copper and the crystals. So it's a continuing altar. Now I'll break down altars. I'll destroy altars. Like I'll have things that I've had up for a while, I'm like gone, and it's really symbolic and really pretty raw and powerful. And then I'll rebuild. That's why I like to go to like estate sales and get kind of special things, or just pick things up at the side of the road, or and then if I'm in the mode, then I start creating altars kind of wherever I go, and it might be connect to another one along the way, and I might have arrows pointing. That's when I get really into my magic. It gets pretty in there, guys. But then
I want to issue a warning because I did one where it was 4 crystals in the ground in a circle, and I only left it there for about 3 days, and then about a month later lightning struck our house and knocked over the edge of the tiles and everything, and it was right near where those things were buried in the ground. And I was just doing them the same way, where I actually wrapped copper around each crystal and buried it for about a day, and then took it out. And woo, be careful. And so I'm not even, I'm being cautious with my thing. It's like electroculture also. You can actually make the garden grow better because it's basically electroculture. So that's it.
I love that. I would love to start doing something like that. Definitely. Thanks a lot, Annie. Hey, Nancy, go right ahead. Hi.
Hey, so I'm changing the subject, and that's very creative, Annie. That was really cool to hear, by the way. It is Annie, right? So I'm changing the subject. I have been noticing that when I level up, and this has to be a psychic thing, right? I noticed that the people closest to me are leveling up. I'm not saying that I'm making them, but I don't. Yeah, I just had my son hurt his back, and he nursed it with the electrical stimulus you can get, and resting it. But then he was like just moving, getting up out of bed one morning, and it like spasmed. And he called me. He's like, "What the heck?" He go, "I had this almost better," and I really try not to be the mom because it's just hard. It takes a while to So I consciously and intentionally say, "Well, gee, maybe a chiropractor would be an idea." And he didn't really have I didn't hear like the impatience the way he described it when he phoned me back. But he was like, "I know, Mom." He goes, "I didn't find it didn't offend me." So like 30 minutes later, he calls me back and he's like, "Mom, I just want to tell you that my frustration had nothing to do with you." He goes, "I have been putting off taking care of this party and his insurance." And he just had multiple conglomeration of things that you, and I was just like, oh my gosh, Riley, that's like so awesome that you were able to identify that chemistry. I didn't say it that way then, but but it just, well, it just tickles your heart to hear. He's 41 now, but still, he's like doing it earlier than I did. I mean, I knew about patterns and stuff like that in personality, but anyway, it just tickled my heart, and I know it's probably like a psychic thing, right, James? I mean, that's what I'm guessing.
What do you mean by that? Tell me how you think it's a psychic thing.
I mean, like, because we're connected. I mean, like, I could share like what happened when I contacted you. That was pretty wild. Um, so okay, so I'm going to start a new story, and I'm going to speak slower and finish my sentences. I don't do that. I listened to the last stage. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even finish my sentences. Anyway, um, I was listening. This is probably 2 months ago now, maybe 3 months. I was listening to something on YouTube, and somebody that I was familiar with, and I'll tune in because I'm still waiting for people like, oh, this is an organic process, and that's not happening. And so I got frustrated and out loud, I'm like, why aren't people getting it? This is like a big organic process. And I saw you were on, James, and I swear this is like, oh, people are gonna believe me. I know you believe me. Um, I hit play, and you were in the middle of the stream, and you said, and like, this is like an organic process. And like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking back. So then, like, the next day, I'm like, gee, when was the last dojo I was in? And this was, mind you, this was probably after my fifth treatment, a couple weeks after, and well, I can share that later. So anyway, literally, I put my phone down. That same day, I pick it up, and James, you posted. It was April of 24, and I was on there, and I watched most of it. I looked really like I was still that last mitosis, and I don't want to talk about that today, but that was probably the hardest for me when people that had been here, and anyway, I want to get back to this one. So you put it on, even though I asked the question out loud. I probably asked it out loud because I do talk out loud all the time. And then you did a stream about the olfactory, and you were saying nostril and nostric or gnostic. And I shared this dream, and I will share this dream. It's such a personal about I was told by my dad, who was still living, and his past sister, only sibling, 3 days before I was told I was going to have a grandbaby, that I was going to have a grandbaby, yeah. And at the end of the stream, my aunt said to me, she goes, this baby has your father's nose. And when you were streaming that, it just really blew up what the whole, I think I have senses that I didn't know what they were, but I have some powerful senses. So then I'm like, I gotta call James. I gotta reach out now because, yeah. So, and I did. I commented on a shirt or something, and anyway. So the second part is, I'm always like sending love to people I love and energy, um, and I've been sending a lot of, just help everyone be more authentic with themselves. And wouldn't that be authentic? Saying, hey, my frustration, you had nothing to do with it. I've been doing this for a year now, and I finally just like,
Yeah, that's kind of why. Yeah, that's why I was asking about what you meant by psychic, because like him calling you back like that is there's a lot to that. Like there could be a lot of reasons why that's happening.
Okay.
And if you have like this is what you started out by saying, it seems like people around you are leveling up too. But then you were quickly to say, but hey, I'm not trying to say I'm leveling
I'm
anyone.
like, oh,
But actually, that is probably what's happening, and you probably just don't know if it's okay to acknowledge that. And yeah, I think the more you acknowledge it, the more you realize you have to practice it, that you kind of have to. And when you do that, you end up with someone calling you back saying stuff like he's haunted by your entitlement. He's haunted by your entire, he senses it. Hey, she didn't deserve to hear me say, oh, my back hurts. And I'm not saying that you felt that way. It doesn't matter. It's a prop. It's a prop. He's sensing your entitlement. And he's sensing that I'm not, I'm not honoring that. And I feel bad. I want to feel better for it. So him, even though he's apologizing to you, what he's actually doing is acknowledging that he could have more entitlement himself. These are the exact same things. It's saying exactly the same thing. You're just using a prop to get away with it. So you could raise your own entitlement slowly by just noticing how you're unentitling other people all the time. If you keep doing that all the time, you'll eventually end up in, entitlementville. But a lot of people don't want to be there, me included, all the time. So we purposely look for, this is why I'm saying it's okay to go down. We look for excuses to find the way down. So, we're gonna utilize both of these things all the time. The pain thing is, I mean, I know you're not talking about that, but the pain thing is really getting interesting to me, Nancy, because I put something into AI about a body part. I was like, I have this body part, it's in pain. And it said, here's what you should do. And then I said, no, no, no. What I mean is I don't care about the pain. I'm asking what do I do to help it? I'm not telling you here's the pain I have so that you will think that I want to stop the pain. I'm asking, here's the pain I have. What should I be doing to address that underlying cause? And when it showed the two different, it was completely different answers, completely different approaches to the same thing. And one of them is like, it wasn't this. I'm just trying to simplify it for you. But one of them is like, oh, you need to rise 3 times, da 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 da. And the other one's like, no, no, you need, when it hurts, that means collagen's moving or some shit like that. And they're like, no, no, no. You need to find a way to put your kneecap in pain every day. And you're going to do this and you're going to move it and you're going to squat and you're going to stay there in the squat. And then it literally said, pain is not the threshold here. It's how long can you endure and move inside it. That's what's going to help. Then over here in the other window, oh, you got to run from pain. You're so fucked, you guys. You're going to fucking die. Where's all the nothing's ever going to help? You need toothpaste. You need a snuggle bunny. You need a teddy bear. And that's, this one does that. And this one does saying, can you do a knee squat for 30 seconds? And I'm like, no. And it's like, good. You just do that. It's like, do that. It's just like, yeah, because it's not listening to me say it hurts. It's not, that's not what I'm asking it. Right. And when you think about what medicine is, it's not really what we're asking it. It's like way advanced what I'm getting ready to say, but it's like, if your son could come to you and say this hurts, and you could say, you don't need a chiropractor, you, that hurts, is you were listening, buddy. You were, this is the signal you need. Maybe your body found an opportunity to hurt itself again because it wants to make more stem cells. Maybe it'll make more stem cells only with your permission. Maybe the only way it gets permission around here is to fucking take you out because you're such a piece of shit who goes around telling everybody sucks and everything all the time that the only way I can squeeze stem cells out of you is to take you the fuck out. So I will. I'll give you the flu. I'll give you monsteritis, whatever it is, whatever it takes to get you to squeeze stem cells out. That's what we're going to do. Same way an itch will start. There's an agency that says, this guy's not listening. We got to get stem cells. What do we got? What are we going to do? It's like, hey, he's got this gout. We can fucking take him out with gout. And the rest of the body's like, all in favor of gout. And people are like, fuck yeah, let's get some gout going. And now your body's doing what it needs. It's done everything it could possibly do to get you to fucking listen, right? To get you to get in that mode. And you're like, I can't believe in stem cells. I don't deserve to have stem cells. No one deserves stem cells. None of us. There's not enough stem cells in the world for me. And we play all these games, right? Until we figure out exactly the right drama, exactly the right prop. And most of those props are, yeah, here's a $300,000 fucking laser. And I'm not using it to fix you. I'm using it to tell you what's wrong with you. That's where we are. That's where we are, right? So it's like we are at the precipice of a whole new dimension here, a whole new realm, and looking at this stuff. And I don't think it's easy. I literally think that when I'm listening to the way insurance works now, this is like a secret extra government. If you want to be a citizen in the new world, you're going to have medical insurance. I didn't say money, medical insurance. The only way you're going to be able to survive in this world is with medical insurance. And if you want to have medical insurance, what else are you going to have? This is what I'm saying. Totally off topic, right? But I have the calories to afford that kind of vision. I can look at this and go, fuck, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. So it's a lot to look at, I know. That's all I got.
Thanks, James. It is a lot to look at. I was wondering, Lori, with what's been coming up for you specifically, do you think it might have something to do with your field being more opened up because you people who had been in your field for a long time then were gone, so then it opened up for more of this to come in for you to feel more directly, acutely. You just have the space for it now. Just wondering if that maybe is why you're feeling so much right now, specifically in regards to just all this overwhelm of not talking to yourself. But maybe that's because you had other people in your head. You know what I mean? You don't have to answer. I was just thinking about it.
That's good pondering. I think the hurts, what I'm relating to what James said about medical, because the torque of my belief connected to that quantum knowing that you can heal yourself, right? So the hurts is my body telling me the places I haven't paid attention. The body kept the score psychologically. And yeah, there's other people in my head. And one of them is the person that gave, that resonated with me with the correct information. And I remember James saying that it might come a time where I push off the bottom off of him. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. So it's like I'm pushing off the bottom off of her and I am getting hurts. That is more power to where I've lost my power. And, like that level of what you were talking about, like giving that pain has value and that the value of deserving to be healed from the psychological nightmare, that the very thing that gave me the power to have this technology of my own belief that I can heal at this level is the person that can't acknowledge that who I am. And I can't get anyone else to do that except me. So the hurts is actually bringing the power back online. So it's both and, Renee. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I just wanted to kind of loop back to you a little bit. Hi, Pi, go right ahead. You're next.
Well, I think I can. I think I can relate this whole thing of talking to yourself and the pain of healing. On a couple occasions. In the past, I wanted to learn how to play violin, and I had this pinky that couldn't get the correct form. I couldn't bend it. I had just done chores and hard things and just not paid attention to it. And then I was like, there's no way I'm going to do anything about that. And I would talk out loud and I'd be so pissed off. Because, I'd been a musician and I just had wished I could use my pinky better, because it's, anyway. And then I had this ridiculous trip. I tripped and fell and landed on my pinky, and I held my entire weight like I landed and I was going to fall and maybe hurt myself worse. And I landed on my pinky and I broke it. And I broke it exactly in the right place where then I moved it around and then I could heal it. And then I fixed it so that my pinky can like go into like around a corner, like a Grecian key, for the violin. And so that was one time, but of course that seemed a little bit far-fetched. And I'm only remembering the talking out loud part now because I'm kind of focused on it. But more recently, I dislocated my shoulder, not too long ago. I'm in my 60s now. And I was cutting some wood and I just missed and it caught on the edge of the wood and dislocated my shoulder. But I just didn't, treat it as seriously as I should have. Just created this excruciating time of pain. And I'd been, complaining about how just when I was learning how to play golf, if I just could have had a better drive, I was just about ready to be able to get par and I was super pumped. And I had this weird rotator cuff thing in there and I used to talk out loud. Anytime anybody would bring up golf, I'd have to bring that up. And then I'd find myself getting pissed and I'm like, yeah, and in my mind, I'm like, God fucking damn it, and just, my fucking pitch is so fucking awesome, and then I gotta have this shitty fucking drive all because of that shoulder. And just, just from doing stupid construction work when I was like 19 or something, something stupid. But anyway, I dislocated my shoulder. It was some of the, most excruciating pain that I've ever experienced. And I just had to like look into it. And because it just wasn't an option to me to like want to go to the hospital or something like that. And I wasn't even thinking at the time that it was going to heal my shoulder. But in that process of, several days of just not being able to be in any position or anything like that, it was kind of like a Promethean like fire that was forcing me to, it's like, you will look into this fire, just imagine the most ritual fire you'd have and you'd stare it down until it would burn down. And you just have no choice, like no choice. Sometimes you might be bored and you might, sometimes I'm bored. I'm like, I don't feel it. I'm not going to stare that fire down. But sometimes, actually just on rare times, I might like stare that fire down and it's kind of like that. And I feel it's connected to my talking out loud and complaining on my shoulder and just, having this idea that you can rebuild your connective, it's like I knew it was this connective tissue and I'm just like, why can't I heal that? I go, that just seems so stupid but I'm just telling you that seemed like there was a connection to me and I won't go on about it, but it's all healed up. And I was talking to this guy at the co-op that likes to golf, a young fella, and I might actually go do some golfing, because it's all good and everything, and I don't have that little hitch in it. So I'm kind of excited to go out. I know it seems kind of frivolous, but I like golf and something about it, like a gentleman's leisurely sport or something like that. I know it probably seems stupid, but I think it's because I don't care for other competitive sports, and so it seems more fun. But I just thought I'd share that on the healing level. The talking and the it just seemed related. If anybody feels that.
Oh yeah, I really appreciated it, Pi. I mean, I think playing, I kind of look at golf like a big pool table, but you're outside and you're not shooting it like this. Yeah, I've never played golf before. I played miniature golf, but I've never played golf. But the fact that you can be outside and the views, that's a huge bonus to me. I think it's a lot more of a networking type of thing, white collar, let's make some deals type of vibe. But I think it's all made in fun. And if you have a stick and you have a ball and you want to put it in a hole, we did it before golf was invented. Before there were freaking flags, right? We just did it for fun. So I'm glad you're playing. Playing is essential. All right, Lauren, you are up. Go right ahead. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hello. Um, Speaking of pain and healing, healing yourself, brings up kind of what I'm dealing with right now. I'm facing some complex emotions that I didn't think I was going to face due to an appointment that I have on Monday with a neurologist. I think about when I was 24, I ended up having grand mal seizures for no reason, out of nowhere. I had no aura to them, so I would just shut off. I would just fall down. I dealt with that for 10 years. I've been seizure free for 10 years, so everything's fine. I think I have healed myself. It took a lot of work, a lot of desire, a lot of effort, a lot of not accepting the diagnosis. Like there's no way. Like this is not my life. This is not how it's going to work out. But I've kept up with things along the way just to make sure that I'm okay. So my neurologist was like, we want to do a 72-hour study on you. So you're going to come in on Monday. We're going to attach all these electrodes. And that's a huge process, especially with this. They look at me and they're like, why do you have to have such long hair? So anyway, they attach it. I come home. I sleep that night. I go in the next morning. They make sure everything's attached. I go home that night and then I go the next day and they come off and I get to wash my hair. I don't know if you guys know, but these electrodes, they take like wax and they stick it to your head and they like use sandpaper to make sure that it's a big thing. But I had no idea that in the back of my mind, there were all of these emotions that I was going to have that were going to come off. And I have to process that old person, that person who's not me anymore, yet is now dealing with the remnants of who I was and wondering why that occurred and how I survived and thinking about how different I am now and kind of being grateful for the experience at the same time because although it hurt me, I've had front of my teeth knocked out, I've had skin ripped off of my knees. Doesn't matter. I'm here and I'm strong, but boy, these emotions, whew, pretty fiery, and I think I'm doing okay, but yeah, so I wanted to share that, and healing is definitely possible. So that's about it. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm not going to be here on Monday, by the way, because I'm going to have stuff on my head.
Wow, that is, yeah. So this has been about 20 years since,
Yeah,
yeah. So you're in your 20s and this is another 20 and you're kind of coming back and looking at what that
yeah.
how purposeful that was and how you were able to get to where you are now. But there's a bit of they just kind of want to do a scan just to see and you feel good
Just
about that. It sounds like you want to follow through with that.
I wonder what my breathing exercises are going to do to the recordings. They're probably going to look and be like, "What were you doing at such and such a time?" Yeah,
What do you like to know? I have my own methods,
exactly.
right? I mean, we
It's
have
my
our
business.
how we treat ourselves in these types of times, and just all those experiences, like getting into an MRI machine. Like I had that experience. I'd never done that before. That was fascinating.
Isn't it? Yeah, all that clapping.
Yeah, it was fine. It was maybe 12 minutes. It didn't take that long. I kind of fell asleep. So I
It's
forgot what I was
weirdly relaxing. Yes,
doing.
I don't know why.
So I
Anyway,
Lauren,
yeah.
can you or have you considered or is it worth first of all, I don't think I can help. I'm not trying to get off on the energy of that. I'm just when I picture this, because I was thinking about the MRI and I saw it as a golden opportunity, a red phoenix, to have witness, to have a very special, expensive, precise kind of witness and the rarity of that experience. And that if you
like that.
were to enter into that kind of association with it, If that, in the same way that stem cells would be more positive if you were saying this pain is good, so too would the experience of that kind of direct witness be the
I
same,
like that.
you
I
know?
think that that's really healthy and it almost turns it into sort of a spiritual, a
Yeah.
sacred spiritual event. And yeah, I like, thank you, James.
Yeah, because when we think about our physical pain and generating stem cells, emotion is the same way. And if you catch yourself in a sad mood or a bad mood or a negative mood, really that's just the proof that stem cells, emotional stem cells, if we can say that word now, are being generated in a certain way. It would feel like that. Just like pain feels, oh, my back hurts. Yeah, it hurts. There's a lot of information there. Put your witness where the information is. This is makes sense. Same with emotions. Find your emotion, put your witness there. Find your emotion, put this is all of medicine. Even the root word of medicine to measure is to where do we put the witness? That's why all of it's diagnostic. It's not diagnostic because it's fake. It's diagnostic because it's not actually the thing that heals. It's the thing that puts the witness on the place so we can heal, right? So we can follow. This is really how we live all of our days, our emotional day where we're like, oh, I have to get up because I have to work. It's the same thing. The pain is moving your witness into a certain location. The location that you fear is a kind of pain that's a hurts. And you're like, oh, I don't want to listen to the hurts. And you either don't or you do, you know, that's your entitlement. Anyway, it kind of makes sense this way.
It does. And, I know that they're going to find the sweetest brain waves. They're not going to find anything peculiar. They're just going to be like, you are doing good, Lauren. Nice work. So.
Man, that's just a great opportunity already. Just love it. Hi, Lori, go right ahead.
I was going to ask that question that James just answered, um, because I wanted to know, Lauren, like, what was the emotion? And now that you gave that intention, I'm going to hold that for you. So I was like, yeah, I'm really grateful that James went in there and that emotion, how important it is, the feelings of how important it is, and making that intention. I see your face is glowing. So gratitude.
What's really trippy about this, guys, is it's retro causally active.
Yes.
That when you were 5 years old and you skinned your knee, that if you have the witness power, if you can dive for this pearl by simulating yourself back into that much time, through that much water, through that much shield, back to that moment, that you can crack open that shell and all of that torque is here, the same way Annie was discussing what's in her yard. It's that it's serendipitous, but it's actually just more naturally something that you stored for yourself a long time ago. Unrequited witness is a kind of berry that you plant, or not berry, a seed that you plant in your garden. The times when you say, hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm your love. Oh, hey, love, will you please unrequite some witness for me? And they're like, sure. It's like, great. And you guys do that. You plant these seeds for each other, but they're in your own garden. And years later, you feel betrayed. And betrayal causes you to think more about yourself. And so the betrayal is the instrument of your growth. And that growth is a manipulation that you, as the farmer, understand that you did to yourself 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 100,000 years ago, right? That this is actually the only way we move. If we really mastered ourselves, we would never expect ourselves to change because we know that that's impossible, which means we would have to accept ourselves exactly as we are, which is sort of It's okay, but little carrot and stick, a little bit closer to, oh, me like this now. Someone 2 steps forward, wait 15 minutes. It's okay. We can admit this about ourselves. If we truly know this about ourselves, then we have an uber consciousness that purposely not seen. It would ruin it if you were saying, "Hey, this carrot, hey, put down that stick. It's not going to work, right? This is working. The hiddenness is working. So can you trust that person who never shows you their face?" And the answer is actually yeah. Like ultimately the answer, they're showing their dominance over you because they can do this. And you've been like for thousands of years, you've been like, oh yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna follow the carrot anymore. Even that, if you heard a donkey say that on your way to the Casbah, you would laugh. You'd be like, of course you're gonna stop following the carrot. Of course you are. I believe in you. You know that you're fine. You know that the donkey's going to have this beautiful romantic relationship with this carrot the whole way down the road. It's it's not broken, it's adorable. It's as adorable as a puppy. You can fool a puppy so easily, right? I mean, seriously, you're like a master magician when you're fooling them. It's the same way. It's who is that mind? If you're disassociated, that mind isn't you. And if it's not you, you can't trust it. If you can't trust it, you can't associate into it. If it's none of those things, then you are stuck here in monkey mind. You'll never go further. But if you can trust, I think that's probably your first step to reaching that other person, that other willpower. We already have words for it. We already guardian angel, God, angels, spirits, whatever. You're already back there going, there's something back there. So we already know it's there. In fact, I think that's why we're able to trust ourselves in public. I think that we already have to be this way, kinda. It's just that we've created the maxim that none of us have to know, and that it's more fun not to know. That's really all we've done. We just created the idea that, hey, this is red light, green light. That's all. We're literally just guys that have strapped roller skates on, and we're just going to run, and then we're going to, there's no point. It's once you get into that, now you're playing. Now you're really in a state of movement, right? This is probably why the Mesoamericans are all about games. It's like what started the mind was games. What started it all was this game. The game of illusion, the game of folly, the game of shame on me, the game of fool yourself, right? This is, you fool yourself every moment. I do it every moment. It's, can we admit it? Can we enjoy it? Can we associate into it? It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. But this probably is where that self-talk comes from. It's probably where, my self-talk's pretty fucking awesome. But my self-talk's pretty rude and shitty too. I liked I'm just like, well, look at that. What did you just say? That's the relationship. It's not more of like, well, I'm deeply disappointed in you as a Theravada Buddhist would never behave that way. It's like, no, I am quite the opposite of that. It's yeah.
Yeah, thanks, James. I tend to, I've said this for a while now, that I feel like my chimeric body is online, whether it be a horse or I have wings, or I just have all these abilities that I can tap into, sometimes all at the same time, and we don't know what will happen then, but there is a very chimeric field. And I think I'm riding a horse, and my horse knows where I'm going. Like, I am the horse, or the whatever animal that seems to be guiding me through the day, through the different valleys of play, or terror. So to feel like I trust myself and my instincts is such a glorious thing. But that's because my field is so open. I don't have a lot of people in here doubting me, in my own space where I live. That's why being really clear about who's allowed in your energy is very importante, because then you're more in tune to kind of go beyond yourself. Let's just say I beyonded myself quite a few times this month. And I'm here to say that it was all worth it. But and it's very zetetic, and we can get into that another time. But go ahead, True, you are next.
I wanted to share a story, and it's with respect to the emotional aspect of physical healing. Both are extremely important in my experience. About 6 years ago, I used to work for a soft drink manufacturer doing merchandising, and it's really heavy, grueling work. Pulling skids of pop around all day, and very demanding. And I got a hernia, bad hernia, where a portion of I'm not sure whether it was my large intestine or my small intestine, came down between my gonads and in the groin crease, and it was sticking out. Probably that much was sticking out. I had to get a truss, and I was freaking out because I thought I would have to get that mesh surgery. And I don't do doctors. I got cataract surgery, but I hadn't been to a doctor since 2002. So I didn't know what to do other than contact a woman who was a shaman, a curandera from South America, and let her read my field. And what was going on there was a conflict between my father and my mother. And my father had been going downhill for about 2 years, and a lot of pain. He did not want kids. That's what came up. He was an only child. He didn't want kids. He wanted to play. And ended up with 2 kids. But so I started doing forgiveness work around my dad, because I could tell he loved me, but he had from a sense of responsibility. I felt unwanted. Let's just put it that way. Regardless of what was going on with him, I felt unwanted, and I was born too soon. So I started working with that energy. She gave me some affirmations to say, and some meditations and some visualizations to work on that area, and my emotional body and my inner child. Okay, so that was going on for about a month, and I did these things on a regular basis. Had another follow-up session, tweaked it. Then my partner goes, and I'm still thinking about going to the doctor, and I still don't want to do it. But I had always had this joke that said, if I'm in a car wreck, don't take me to the hospital. Take me to a Christian Science reading room. And you know what? She called me on it. Said, we've got a Christian Science reading room a mile from where we live now. I said, I'm going to take you down there, and you're going to talk to them. That's what was said. And I said, well, let's do it. So I walk into this place, this reading room, and it's a library, and there's 2 people sitting there. And I said, I'd like to talk to somebody about what it is that you do here, and what you believe and how you work with somebody as a practitioner. And they pointed into the back room. This old guy, I mean, he's probably 75, 80 years old, and he's taking a nap. He's sitting at this table. I said, you need to talk to that gentleman there. He's my father. So I sat down and looked at, he said, oh, how can I help you, sir? And I said, I'd really like to understand very simply what you do as a practitioner. And he reached across the table, put his hand on my arm, and said, perfect God, perfect man, perfect body. And every hair on the back of my neck and on my arm stood up straight. And I felt this current of energy run through me. And I do know that piloerection creates stem cells. Fact. A lot of people don't know that. I guess the end of the story is I walked out of there kind of like a deer in the headlights and said, what the hell just happened? But the end of the story was, I guess about 6 weeks later, the hernia is totally gone. Hernia is totally gone. Been fine to this day. So
That
But I
is,
don't feel like that would have been possible without the emotional body work, the inner child work. I think it had to be both of them together. So I'm done.
that makes sense, true. That does make sense. Kind of the stuff with your dad and your mom, especially your dad, and then to be ready for the yeah, the piezoelectric creates stem cells. That is fast. I hit that as much as I can just talking to people. We can just be like, oh, Hadashay, the name of my business means that. It means a field that creates the hair for your hair to stand on end. So I'll be a Hadashay, Hadashay, as we get all like, oh, like there's something beautiful is said or a synchronicity or some emotions come up. So we're making stem cells all over the place. I tell you, this is great. Fantastic. All right, Pi, go ahead.
Well, I just I feel tempted to share just my own little microbiology scientific detail that I just noticed. Just it's just it might not mean anything. It's not even that complicated. It's just that people are familiar with like ATM, like adenosine or ATP, adenosine triphosphate, but adenosine monophosphate is just like a simpler, ubiquitous form. And just like with dyes and things that you use for viewing things under a microscope, like when the color blue is added, like if you visualize the color blue, these are the AGM is designed to be, it's theoretical, but there's research, and I believe it at this time. It's like a neurotransmitter for tissue. It's a tissue specific neurotransmitter, which is why it works so great for like tissue slices and things, probably too. But it's I just think that you can, there's there's just a blue color. I'll just generally say there's just a blue color relationship with this tissue specific, like just, it's just it's its own power, molecule, but it's also tissue specific. You can send a message to the tissue, is what I'm saying, with the color blue. And that's just what I've seen. And it's not because I tried to visualize blue, it's just that's all I can see. I can't see anything else. So, and I just noticed that there was research that showed that. So I just wondered, if you tried to visualize that, just like when I was going to have some large portions of tissue removed from my calf muscle that were damaged, and they had me swallow this gallium. I used to think like, is that just like a different form of mercury? But then I started thinking like, did they mistake gallium for mercury in history? Because they're both liquid at room temperature and they look identical. And they were telling me that gallium from my CTI scan was going to go to the site of the injury and give them this like great witness, where they were going to see this awesome detail. And so that's how they talked me into it. But, like Lauren, you're saying you're going to go get an MRI, right? Is that correct? Or was I mistaken?
No, it's a 72-hour ambulatory EEG, so
Oh,
electroencephalogram.
okay.
So I'm gonna look like
Yeah.
Medusa.
Oh, okay.
But I've had plenty of MRIs, yeah. Never had to swallow the liquid though.
But it's just, mostly what I'm saying is like there's an aspect of witness, and you can send a message, and it'd be interesting to see what they might see, like if you wanted to send your own message. I guess that's basically just, I wanted to lay out the mechanism because I just thought, I don't know. I just think that's my best guess at how things work right now. So I thought I'd share it.
A lot of it's fingering, like witness needs fingers. You can reach under the couch and you you controlling for the remote, you can touch it, it pushes it further, but you have fingers. It would be impossible without it. And all of these things, the furniture is more important than we think, but it's actually trivial. It's trivial furniture that is crucially important because it allows us to put our fingers in places that without furniture we would not know exist. We would not know we're there. If you picture that there's an open series of blackness and you have to remember all the black spaces and all you have is blackness, it's not, it's never, ever, ever going to happen. But if it's full of dust, if it's full of spit and wine and vinegar and flowers and right now all these things have, oh yeah, yeah, I like this and oh I fucking hate that. And then now you're assigning. Now you're going up to each one, you're giving it spin. I believe in you. I do not believe in you, right? This is positive, negative, right? That's why it's all chemistry. I swear it's just all we're living in liquid chemistry. We're simulating our way through the fluid. That's I swear that's what we're doing. This is symbiotic conscious fluid. That's why we're connected and we're not. We're connected and we're not. It's yeah. It's exactly the answer. Well, which is it? Yes. The answer is yes. It's both. So
All right. All right, Laura, your hand's up. Yeah, we got about 9 minutes left. You can go right ahead.
Well, I related to true story of the miracle of belief, faith healing or whatever of it's like the healing is inside of us, available. And then so I've been deep diving into that neurochemical stuff and that methylene blue, a fish tank cleaner is an amazing tool for healing of brain surgery and stuff. They're using it like washing the brain with this methylene blue or taking the methylene blue. And so I have this little thing from a friend. It's called a trope. It turns your tongue blue and stuff. And I fight with it because I'm like, if your body can do this, why would you take anything? So it's just like if the body knows how to do this piloerection and make stem cells and like or like but I don't negate that the magic of Western medicine or trauma or like if you had to go to get your bones set, I'm like, so there's a both end all the time. And so, I haven't experimented with that methylene blue. It's supposed to give you like this clarity of thought. It's kind of reminding me of like true flow state or opening up to the getting the neurochemical in the flood of a kundalini experience or some kind of flow state experience rather than taking the you know magic mushrooms or anything for these. There's a lot of new enhancements for brain enhancement and all this other stuff, so it's like we're in this like amazing time. And so anyhow, I don't know if anyone knew anything about that methylene blue, but I have it in my refrigerator. I was like, well, I might do an experiment on it, but my body's pretty kick ass. So I don't really want to mess with it. So that's just what my 2 cents on that.
yeah, if you think about like the difference, I know I've used this before, but it's just so potent, this analogy of there's a threshold when someone's tickling you, and there's a certain point where it's great. It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing ever. You've never been more alive. And then, oh my God, stop. No, seriously, quit. Fucking stop. Would you fucking get off me? Just look, motherfucker. And it's the same feather. Nothing has changed in the sense of the action potentials are still there. And this is the biggest clue about just how much power we have here to imaginate what is happening to us. It's so colossally powerful. And we will destroy ourselves or invigorate ourselves. We will literally hover if we could get this stuff down, if we start to learn this stuff, if we understand these things. And If you think about us as chemistry, we already do hover. We already do move. We already have this ghost potential where we are retrocausally go back in time and open up chests, treasure chests, and pull pearls out and take them up to the future. Plant them for our ancestors. Don't fucking say a word. Then act all pissed off. Oh, I'm an evil grandpa drunk guy. Blah 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 blah. And the whole time you're just planting these fucking seeds for yourself. You're just planting them. And you need the drama. So it's not like you're doing wrong by not, no, you're not supposed to figure this out. You're wrapped in play. You're wrapped in play, right? So if people are fucking sticking electrodes in your head, if they're telling you drink this magic fucking glow metal, and get in this giant fucking tube, it's these are opportunities for you, I think, to do what is this tickling? Where is my power? I can kick the shit out of this guy. Or is this an opportunity to figure out, can you master this? Can you master this? Can I be tickled and come back? Right? Can you come back from the point of no return and say, wait, this tickles again? Can you do that? I would say this is like Kung Fu fucking Kill Bill shit. Like I can't do this. But I'm saying if we could, we're mastering a finger that's not there. We're moving appendages. Do you see what I mean? We're moving appendages that are not there because we can have the feather that hurts and the feather that feels good. That's the finger. That's it. And when you get in cold water and you're like, fuck, and you're just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then some of you are better than me and you're just like, just fucking do it. And you get in. It's the same thing. It's this, we're in the same water. Technically, I'm less wet. Why am I so unhappy? Why am I freaking the fuck out? Why am I losing all this crucial energy? Right? Because it's the feather. It's that same thing. Being in the DMV, are you having a good time? Or are you miserable? Right? Are you cussing yourself? Are you having a good time? It's not about are you cussing yourself? It's about, oh, you're cussing yourself. You having a good time? It's like, fuck yeah, I am. Did you hear how much I just look at this water heater? Look at this piece of shit water heater. Look at it. Look at what a piece of shit it is. Call it a piece of shit. Your friends are like, you're a piece of shit. It's like, yes, this is this is a color, right? We don't want a society that says you can't have these colors. It's really about what we do with it. This is why we don't do with it because everyone's just like nervous. Oh, you can't be fucking walking around using those kind of colors, man. You can't fucking draw with that color. That's what we're telling ourselves all the time. I mean, we're getting there, we are there. But this is really, I think, more what it's about. So great topic though. I love this idea.
Yeah, yeah, totally fine. Meanwhile, people really like to watch these very intense programs to feel something that's not them. You know what I mean? But I didn't watch like Breaking Bad. I'm like, why would I do that to myself? I know people loved it, but I think when you have a life that's really full and alive, you really don't need to watch that on the screen because it's happening in your life. I know James knew this, but I decided when I was a teenager that I wasn't ticklish anymore. I'm like, you know what? No way. Too vulnerable. I'm just not going to be ticklish. And it's worked for me. Do I want to be ticklish again? I don't know. It would have to be kind of on a we'll see kind of notice, but that was just too much for me to like just allow people to mess with me like that. Um, and it's kind of this power that I've had for a long time. I just never put much stock into it. I just thought I'm just not ticklish. Sometimes people can get me though, but it really depends. It's really interesting. I can see a lot of people trying to come at me different ways. Hey, Ashley, go right ahead. Your hand is up. Yes. You're muted though. You want to hit the unmute button. It's okay.
Great. Sorry. So I feel weird talking because it's normally y'all space, but I also feel weird like coming and not saying anything. And I don't want to take it too long, but I had a thought on the subject. I thought maybe y'all would enjoy this, but recently I was under the influence of something, and I had this like when I closed my eyes, I had a vision, and it was like a black void, and there was a web that like I couldn't tell that it was there, but I could tell that this serpent that I was looking down on was sitting on like a web like structure, and the serpent was like made of light, kind of. Anyway, it kept oscillating between like being very, very tense, like being shocked, like the equivalent of being tased, and then like unwinding. And it just, I was feeling the feeling of like both like going oscillating between those things. And it felt like I was witnessing almost like a, I wouldn't necessarily say God, but like a battery of sorts in it. I also had the thought that like maybe it could be painful for whatever the source is, you know what I mean? Like to sustain this, but maybe that's the only way is like to oscillate between those two things. And then I also kind of was like, I had the thought that, and this is a little off topic, but that like maybe God just splits into a million eyes and kind of ability is fun for a little bit, but it would be absolutely exhausting. I'm here and you might have to suffer, but it's still collapsed. Like everything is collapsed into whatever it is, and you witness it and experience it. And that's your playtime before you go back to the all, or you know, you're at peace, but maybe it's exhausting after a while. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, but I've had a lot of thoughts. I wanted to raise my hands many times, but
Oh, Ashley, that's great. Please, we'll come back anytime, whether you
oh,
both
thank
are
you very much. Thank you.
in time. It's just great to have some new witness here, and we just really appreciate it. Thank you so much for Burgess Subli. Thank you for joining us, everyone. This has been really wonderful this Wednesday, and we're going to say goodbye to April 2025, onward until May. And my gosh, we'll see what happens this month. All right, you guys can all unmute and say goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Aloha.
Great to see everybody.
Thanks.
Mahalo.
We got
See you next
ciao,
time.
ciao.
Care.
Bye.
Bye.